What's up, Rivalers, and welcome to the Ultimate Ultron Guide. Ultron is a strategist with the ability to heal his entire team at once without even pushing a button. In this guide, I'll be covering Ultron's combos, playstyles, advanced tips, and more, so whether you're a complete beginner or a high-ranking player, this video is for you. Ultron is a healing strategist with the unique capability of flight. His kit is quite simple. His primary fire is a laser with infinite range that deals consistent damage and then a burst of damage at the end. His shift ability gives you a shield as you briefly dash in any direction and then increase your flight speed for the next 7 seconds. His E ability attaches a drone to an ally that heals any ally in an area. His right click creates a firewall, shielding yourself and any allies near you and any allies near your drone. And his ultimate creates an Ultron firing squad that both damages and heals allies with its shots. So let's go over each ability and teach you how to efficiently use each one. Ultron's primary fire does have infinite range, but the damage falls off the further you are from your target. This ability does require decent aim tracking, as you'll definitely want to land as much of the laser as possible and the burst damage at the end of the laser. There's a pause between every shot, and his reload animation is pretty lengthy, so just like with other flyers, you'll want to duck in and out of cover to minimize the amount of time you're vulnerable while flying. Also, an advanced tip is that you can actually cancel Ultron's reload when the reload icon is here by using a melee attack or any ability other than your dash. And this will heavily cut down on the time it takes to reload, so you'll want to learn this. Ultron's E ability is his primary form of healing, and unlike most strategists, it's healing over time rather than a burst of healing. These drones are invincible, so they can't be destroyed or targeted, and using the healing drone has no cooldown, so moving it from target to target is fast and easy. It gives increased healing to the ally it's attached to, so you'll always want to keep it on your lowest HP ally to keep them alive. But the drone also heals in an area, and you can see how many allies your drone is currently healing with this number here. At the start of the game, you want to put your drone on your front line, that way you can heal multiple allies at once and farm up that ult charge. Then as the fight progresses, you can swap your drone whenever you want to the ally that needs it the most, then swap it back to the center of your team so you can farm that ult charge. And the drone will also heal you if you're within its range, so placing it on an ally near you is a great way for you to stay alive. Now, Ultron's healing over time makes it kind of easy to attach the drone to an ally and forget about it, since it will be automatically applying the healing, does remove the drone, so even though Ultron's primary fire has infinite range, you do want to be moving with your team through the map. Also, your drone is the fastest way to cancel your reload animation, way faster than your melee. So make sure to sit behind your teammates so that when you have to reload, you can easily cancel it halfway through with a simple swap of your drone. And this is going to be the most important things you need to learn on Ultron, as his reload animation is extremely long. So you definitely want to practice that animation cancel. And Ultron's right click makes your drone placement even more important, because it activates a firewall, giving shields to yourself and everyone around the drone. You'll want to use this ability to help low HP allies survive burst as your drone heals them over time. Now, Ultron is a flyer, which means he has access to a lot more vertical space and cover than most strategists. However, be careful when flying too high because it'll make you a very easy target, and the range for your firewall shield actually shrinks the higher up you are. It works similarly to Storm's aura, so you'll want to kind of hug the ground when applying the shield, because as you can see, the higher up you go, the smaller the area that you're going to apply the shield to. You can fit much more teammates in this area if you're flying lower to the ground, or when you're putting the drone on a teammate that's on the ground, then using your firewall. And one last thing, your healing drone behaves similarly to your firewall, where the higher the ally that you put your drone on is, the smaller the healing area becomes. So be aware when attaching your drone to flyers or characters like Spider-Man and Venom that don't necessarily always like to be on the ground. Ultron's shift gives him a shield and dashes in any direction. Ultron has just 250 HP, and as a strategist, you're always going to have a huge target on you. So use this dash intelligently to duck behind cover or dash out of the way of lethal enemy ultimates. Having a reposition tool on a flying hero is really nice, and using the dash also grants you extra movement speed for 7 seconds. However, be aware that Ultron's dash looks like it only has an 8-second cooldown, but the cooldown doesn't actually start ticking down until the movement speed has ran out. So really, it has a 15-second cooldown. Now this is an important one to manage. When your dash is available, you can position more aggressively and look for pot shots, knowing you can dash out when things get ugly, but when it's on its lengthy cooldown, you are a robotic sitting duck, so use it carefully. Ultron's ultimate summons a firing squad of robots that rains down multiple blasts down on the battlefield. Now these shots are AoE and both heal your allies while damaging enemies, so you can think of them as something similar to Loki's primary fire. Ultron's ultimate also has a lengthy cast time, so you should always try to duck behind cover when activating it and don't expect it to go off immediately. Now, while this ultimate does also technically damage enemies, you should be using it primarily to heal your allies, because numbers wise, this ultimate's healing is pretty insane. It heals 500 health per second, which is the most out of any strategist, and that's twice as much as Luna Snow's healing during her ultimate. However, the biggest downside to this ultimate is that you yourself don't get the full 500 health per second healing. Ultron himself gets a greatly reduced self-healing, and you can be KO'd through your ultimate very easily if you're targeted. So be sure to be aware of the nearest cover when ulting as Ultron. Don't fly out to the middle of the fight because you can and will be bursted down. And remember, you can also use your dash while ulting to reposition, dodge fire, and chase a moving team fight. However, your right click is disabled while ulting, so be aware of that. Now that we've gone over each of Ultron's abilities, let's talk about some of his strengths as a hero. As a flying strategist, Ultron is really good against dive, especially with his right click and dash giving him survivability and mobility. You're also just not on the ground where most enemy divers are going to be, well, diving. Now, while you should always keep an eye out for that annoying Menace Spider-Man, you do actually possess the tools to survive even his dive. Ultron also benefits from the fact that he can heal himself while healing others, so attaching the drone to your other allied support as they're getting dove can keep you both alive as long as you're positioning near them. And remember to use that right click as an emergency button when health bars start getting low. Your ult's healing can even keep your team alive through a full Moon Knight ult, which is insane. Being a flyer opens up a world of possibilities when it comes to positioning, and this is what's going to separate good Ultrons from great Ultrons. Ultron also has a team up with Iron Man that replaces his primary fire with an infinitely firing beam that damages enemies and heals allies while piercing through both teams. This lets you get a lot more healing done and kind of makes Ultron feel like a more typical healing strategist for a little bit, with very nice healing output on top of your drone's steady healing. Now let's talk about his weaknesses. As a flyer, poke characters will always be extremely strong against Ultron, so characters like Hela, Atom, Hawkeye, and more can counter Ultron, so be aware of which hit scan enemies you need to watch out for and play carefully against them. You are going to be the priority target #1, especially if you're out of position and flying a little too close to the sun. Another weakness of Ultron is that his healing is really just not that impressive outside of his ult. His drone heals over time, which in a game that moves as fast as Marvel Rivals can mean a lot of the time your allies are just going to take too much damage before you can heal them up. At the time of his release, Ultron has one of the lowest healing outputs of any strategist, but the value in Ultron's healing isn't how fast it comes out, but rather how consistent it is, since as long as your drone's active and you're alive, you'll be healing. So it's very important to minimize deaths on this character. And another weakness is that it's pretty easy to get KO'd. If you mismanage your shield or dash, you can quickly find yourself in the scrapyard. All in all, Ultron is a very unique strategist that rewards cooldown management and positioning, and also brings a very offensive slant to the strategist role. There's nothing more satisfying than sniping a disgusting fleshling out of the air. So if you're going to play Ultron, remember to maximize the number of allies you're healing with your drone, prioritize saving your dash to keep yourself alive, animation cancel your primary fire reload animation with your drone ability, and use that ultimate as a counter ult to make use of its crazy healing. If you follow this advice, you'll be carrying your team into a glorious new age of victory in no time. Let me know which character you'd like to see a guide on next, and I'll see you in the next one, Rivalers.